Hello, you are watching the Pure Passion Biz Podcast with Akua Hinds. I'm your host, Akua Hinds. Today, I have the joy of introducing someone who you need to meet if you are interested about traveling, if you have a passion for travel. Jannette Lumley is somebody who's going to share some great tips with us today. Jannette Lumley is a Greater Toronto area based travel counselor. She has a company called Great Holidays Adventure Tours, and she serves people locally and globally. She has been working in her industry for 10 years, and she is an Afrocentric travel counselor. Jannette, thank you so much for joining me today. And what can you tell us about travel? So, right now, we're about to start the summer holiday break for a lot of families. School is not in session anymore. So traveling is going to be happening a lot. And of course, traveling happens throughout the entire year. Is traveling good for every person to experience? And if so, why is that the case?
Travel, of course, it's good for everyone. Especially here living in Canada, where, it's cold. I would say 10 months out of the year, because that's what it seems like, although that's not what it is, but it seems that way. So, yes, I would suggest everyone to take a vacation once in a while. If you can take it every day of the year, why not? But sometimes, due to finances, economics, we can only afford to maybe take a vacation once a year or two times a year, whatever the circumstance. So yes, definitely. In terms of travel, there's so many unique destinations out there. There are cruises that you could do. There's so many things, you could go on a retreat, which at Great Holidays we offer all these services. So it doesn't matter what it is, we have the remedy for you. As an Afrocentric travel agent, we go more into holistic healing and ecotourism. Now you have music tourism and healing spiritual, because some people want to connect back with nature, right? So that's why I specialize as an Afrocentric travel agent.
Sounds very intriguing, sounds very exciting. And yes, in Canada, we do have a few months of cold weather. A lot of the weather, though, it is nice that we have these springs, these summers, these falls that are where the weather is milder. But even though right now we're having a lovely summer, weather is good, we don't necessarily have some of the beaches that other countries have, at least not in the Greater Toronto area. I know that there are beaches in other parts of Canada, um, especially the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, but we're not really close to those areas. And so I think that beaches are also a strong incentive for people who want to travel. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. And also remember, here in Toronto, we do have beaches, but not like the sea or the ocean. We have the lake, right? So that's still a beach. I know it's not the same, but we do have access to beach. So,
I mean, for me, I, I was, born and raised here in Ontario, but I've never seen the Ontario lakes as a beach, because my parents are from the Caribbean. So I would travel to the Caribbean to visit family and friends, and I would be at real beaches, and I would never consider calling our lakes in Ontario a beach. That just seems like a sacrilege. I just I don't know. I just don't see it that way. But I know that other people, they do consider some of the beaches we have here to be beaches, and they're satisfied with that. But for someone like myself who really loves the real beach experience where you can see tropical fish swimming right next to you, which I've experienced, it's fantastic. People who want maybe coconut trees around them, that type of atmosphere. Obviously, they're not going to get that here. They're going to have different kinds of trees, and it won't be tropical fish swimming around them in the water. So, um, I think that travel exposes us to things that we sometimes forget about, because in the month of February here, as you know, in the GTA is very cold, usually very, very cold. It's rare that we have a warm February. But for somebody who's never left this area, they may not realize that you can hop on a plane, fly to Miami, fly to Antigua, and they're not having cold Februarys. They're having very warm, very hot, enjoyable Februarys. So I think it's great too that travel opens up our minds and reminds us that the life that we live is not necessarily the same life as anybody else. Is that something that yeah, that you have any insight you want to share about that? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. As it relates to traveling, I want to somewhat add to what you're saying with traveling, why it's important to travel. Remember, we've been under the lockdown for 2 years, possibly three, right? Under the pandemic. I know, I think it did a lot of injustice to individuals, um, stress, depression, everything negative, emotionally. So I do believe that now is the time that you're out there. Hey, take getting away out of this would be a relief. So you can. There's so many stuff. If you wanna use your rewards, because some of us have rewards. Like I'm not sure if they do those anymore. What do you call that? Ear miles,
Oh, they
right?
still Air Miles is still in existence,
Okay.
and it's not just Air Miles. There's other travel reward companies too. I have a credit card that is not linked with my Air Miles account, although I did have those Air Miles credit cards in the past. But a different card now, where the credit card company issues the travel reward points, and I love it because I can redeem them on anything that's charged as travel. So it doesn't matter if I book with your company or if I just decide to, a spur of the moment, just drive on a road trip and just go stay at a hotel somewhere. My credit card travel points cover anything that's charged as airline, hotel, car rental, including things like, Lyft and Uber, as well as cruise ship, it, anything
Which
that codes as travel. So I can use my points to cover that purchase too. And that is true. There are a lot of people who have points just stacking up, right? And so this is a wonderful time to use
Yeah,
it.
you can accumulate them, because sometimes you need a lot. But if you haven't traveled in like 6 years, I think that could probably get you a free ticket. It depends on the reward that they're giving, and stuff like that. So traveling is exciting. I love to travel, although I don't like to fly, but
Oh,
I
you know
don't,
that?
no, I don't, yeah, and I'm a travel agent. I don't like to fly, but if the needs be, I will. Uh,
Oh, that's interesting. I've never really heard you complain about flying before.
I don't
I
because I just decided I have to do it.
Right.
It's not something that, just like how I don't like height, I don't like to go
Okay.
too much off the ground. I don't like it.
Okay.
But, like look at the CN Tower, for example. Years
Mhm.
ago in 2004, I went up there and I swore that I would never go again.
And how was it for you?
That's the experience. No, the elevators are outside of the building. I don't appreciate that. And it's extremely high. And then when you
Mhm.
go inside the building, there's a glass floor
Mhm.
that you're looking down at. So that's just a turnout for me. But hey, people, Toronto, there's so much things here. So which that's one of the attraction. You
For
can come
sure.
on over to experience it. So there's so much, in terms of traveling that you can do.
Absolutely. In fact, I actually feel the opposite as you. I love flying. I love, even if it's a short flight, I love just relaxing and letting the pilot take care of me. I feel like it's self-care, let the pilot take care of everything. And I don't mind heights. I like the CN Tower, and it's liked that experience. And since we're talking about that, you know, going to touristic destinations in your own city, that's basically a staycation. And Staycations are very popular too. What are some staycation ideas that you suggest people try in their own hometowns, no matter, where they are? Just some general ideas that you suggest they
Maybe
consider.
a picnic, take your family to a picnic, you have places like Center Island. You have places like, well, Ontario place used to be, but I'm not sure if that kind of adventure is there anymore. You have places like, even down by the lakeshore, you have places there that with your family you can do. You can even get a group of friends. There's Wessaga Beach. There's different places in right here in the GTA. And for those of you who don't know, the GTA is the Greater Toronto area, right? There's so much here to do in terms of staycation. Even going down by the district distillery, the wine distillery downtown. There's so much
Yes.
down there that you can do. CN Tower is there, the Sky Dome, here Canada Center,
Mhm.
BMO Field. There's so much you can explore,
There
especially
is.
night.
There
Night.
is. I think too that regardless of where someone lives, museums are also a nice place to go if somebody wants to have a staycation, because every city, every town has some sort of historical place where their town is honored. So a museum and art gallery is nice too. The library.
Falls, Niagara Falls as
Niagara
well.
Falls, yes.
Yeah.
But anyone, anywhere in the world, if they want to do a staycation in their own hometown, a museum is a great place to go to as well. And there's other things too. I know that here in the GTA, there are always food festivals. So, especially during the summertime. So, food festival is
It's
a
too
nice
much.
way of having. Yeah,
Too much.
well, actually, because our city and our society here is so multicultural, it's a nice way, I feel, that the food festivals are a nice way to sort of open up the mind about foods in other places where maybe you haven't gone to that location, maybe you haven't gone to Greece before, but if you want to go to a Greek food festival, doing that might give you a taste of what Greek life is like and might spark your curiosity to want to go to Greece yourself and taste the food and even just going to a restaurant that's nothing wrong with the chain restaurants. I like the chain restaurants. Maybe going to a restaurant that's an independent restaurant that serves food from a different area, right? From a different country. Like, say, if you want to go to a Philippine restaurant, right? In your local city, that's a great way to do a staycation too. You're experiencing something that you might not have experienced had you not decided to support your local economy and really tour and explore it.
And
And
another staycation idea would be Summerlicious. Summerlicious is a summer, with different restaurants coming together, and maybe sometimes the prices you may never be able to buy their food because of the cost. During Summerlicious season, you're paying half the price for the food, so it gives you an opportunity to sample or go into different culture to experience their food. While
absolutely.
yes, so Summerlicious is a great way.
I have
Mhm.
a friend who she's from Hong Kong and she's lived in Mississauga for many years. She's lived here and she is constantly posting, and I think it's nice that she posts uh, postings of herself at different areas in the Greater Toronto area. And in her hashtags, she's basically, a tourist in her own, in her own area, but basically encouraging people to tour their own local areas and really see what's there because there's always so much there, right? And there's stuff in your own backyard that you might take for granted because it's always been there, it might always be there, but you have an opportunity when you do a staycation to really explore it well. So, with the summer holiday season happening right now, what tips do you have for summer travelers?
Well, there are so many different things to do in terms of tips. If you're going somewhere, especially out of town, make sure you walk with sunblock, sunscreen, sunglasses, visor hats. I think that's what they call them.
Yeah.
You special shoes for swimming. Different things. There's so many different things to take along. I don't want to hear anything. Yes, sorry. Yeah, so at the end of the day, there are so many things that you could do during the summer months and tips. They have auto slash. I did some research, they have things like auto slash, hotel slash, where the costs, they're cutting the cost down for these kind of ideas if you're traveling to cut down on costs. Because when you go on vacation, you need a lot of money. And the
Right.
more you can save, the better it is for you.
Yeah, that's true. And I always appreciated and enjoyed growing up when my parents would take me to events in the city and be able to experience those staycation moments, have fun. But of course, it's something that's very accessible and easy to do and somewhat affordable too. So always appreciated that. So definitely sunblock is a good thing. And I think too that a lot of people, when they're traveling, they should probably look into having a fanny pack or something around their waist to keep their money in, so that they won't they won't become a victim of theft. Do you suggest any suggestions about handbags, or do
But
you
I
be
would
left at
suggest
home?
if you don't have to walk with a handbag, you don't. They have those little pouches that you can put around
Right,
your
the
waist.
fanny packs.
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
Those are great to carry. Or, I don't want to say basically, but some people would put their money in their socks. Depends, where you're traveling. Some people, if they have pockets, they put their money in their pockets. Travel with less funds. And a credit card would probably be the best to use as well, because it helps to kind of lower attraction to theft and all these stuff. So there are many other stuff out there that I've seen devices or small items that they're making now to eliminate your traveling. And I remember once I went to New York and a group of us were walking, and I never forget that. And the guys, well, one of our friends, they cut his pocket out. Like cut his pocket and took out his
Without him
wallet
knowing?
without him knowing. This that was surprising. This was back in
Wow.
the 80s in New York. So these sometimes you have to be mindful of your surroundings,
Yes.
because nobody knew and
Right.
nobody saw anybody. His pocket was gone with his wallet.
Oh my goodness, that's very startling. That's very
Yeah,
frightening.
it is. So when it around the globe, especially when you're going to certain cities, you have to be mindful because you're new and people can spot you out, easily when you're a new visitor to the city. So you have to be mindful, even here in Toronto, you never know.
Very
So
true. Very
yeah,
true. Everyone should
so
really be vigilant about,
safety is always first.
yes.
So the less attraction you can make on yourself,
Mhm.
eliminate it.
I agree. I think it's good too to take a combination of local currency and credit cards too, because some people, they, unless they've been traveling, they don't necessarily realize they may go to a place, a destination for the first time and want to rent a car. You can't rent a car unless you have a credit card. That's just not something that, can be done. And there are some hotels where you can pay cash, sure. But I remember when I was at a hotel years ago in California, and they did not accept cash. The front desk clerk, she said she's not allowed to touch cash. Can only be all bookings, any incidentals, everything had to be paid for with a credit card or a debit card. And I notice on planes too, and on trains, like via rail, and on airlines too, because I've been traveling. I've always been a traveler, but recently I've been traveling again since the pandemic shut things down. And for a couple of years now, you can't airlines won't accept cash to pay for snacks and things like that. It's only with a credit card. And I'm not even sure if they accept debit cards. I think it has to be a credit card. So using a credit card is good, absolutely. It is good to have cash on you just in case, but definitely using a credit card and having a credit card handy is very important to have that tool. Um, and so, what are some new things that are trending in the travel industry right now?
You know what? Travel, there are always new things, but for me, I just got nominated or elected to the borderless government
Oh,
yeah,
congrats.
in Africa, in the tourism department.
Wow.
So I'm excited about that because my newest role now is director general, which means I'll be working alongside other persons in that department. But it gives me an opportunity to connect with the world.
Now, how
You
does that happen? How did you step into that role? Were you chosen or did you apply for it? How did that come about?
chosen in a sense, but it goes back since the pandemic. So when the pandemic started, a borderless government was formed called the State of African Diaspora.
Hmm.
So from there, I became an ambassador to that government. And from there, I was somewhat got into the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So I've been in that ministry for about a year or so. And then now to this new position.
Congratulations, that's very exciting. And I'm sure that that will expand your travel business even more now that you have this new role that you've stepped into. And as well, lastly, what are three must-haves people should bring with them before they travel to a Caribbean destination?
Credit card is one. Um, I think I mentioned this already, but I'm going to mention it again. Sunscreen, right? Sorry about that. Yeah, so must have, proper walking shoes, comfortable shoes, if you got, because you're going to be doing a lot of walking. So you need to be comfortable, whether a nice pair of running shoes or, what do we call it, sneakers, things
Yes.
like that, right? And as I said, a credit card, because you need that.
Mhm.
And just bring yourself. That's the last thing here. Bring yourself with an open mind to expect anything while you're there.
Well, those are great tips. I think that as well, I think people who've never visited the Caribbean before, they might, depending on where they're staying, they might be staying at an all-inclusive place. I usually stay with family and friends, and things in the Caribbean are quite expensive for, compared to the way things are priced in North America because their population is smaller, right? I think it's good for people to consider too to take things like tissue boxes, things that are very cheap to get here. Tissue boxes, maybe some toilet paper. If you're staying, depending on where you're staying, all of that might be there for you, but take along extra things that you take for granted at home. If you can, of course, you have luggage limits, but just these little things that you have because where I live, there are pharmacies everywhere, and there are Walmarts everywhere. In the Caribbean, yes, they have local stores, but some places might be a little bit more remote than others, and you want to make sure that you have some of the things that some of your comforts with you, so that you don't have to go and buy and pay for things at prices that are more expensive than what you're used to.
I'm gonna agree with you with that paper towels. I'm gonna agree with you
Hmm.
because not only that, but sometimes when you get there, you can't get to the store right away,
Right.
right? So it's best to have these things readily. That you don't have to be running to the store in the middle of the night to get, these things. Toothpaste is another thing
Yes.
that you need to um take with you, and
Mhm.
maybe body wash, you know, extra stuff that you would normally use at home. You can take those with you.
Absolutely. I know that visiting, my relatives and friends in the Caribbean, they're able to supply for themselves, but things do cost more over there. And it's so much cheaper here for me to just buy things that I need that I'm used to and just bring my stuff like the soaps and the lotions and things like that. Um, and I I suggest that to everybody. Take those things along with you because it's true. The hours of stores are not necessarily as open at for as many hours as the stores in North America. So they might be closing earlier. You want to make sure that you have things that you think about every day, but you use them every day, but you take them for granted. So I want to thank you so much, Jannette. I would love to have you on again to share more about travel, to share more about what you're doing. And I think I know who your favorite travel companion sidekick is, but do you want to share that with us? Who's your favorite person to have adventures with, to travel?
This little one here with me. Yes, taking her on a vacation, it would be nice. But this coming August, I'm on a big adventure in Jamaica. Got connected there, for a music festival.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, August 26th. So I'm looking forward to that, going down, be a part of the celebration. Great Holidays Adventure Tour is one of their sponsors. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And I love how you use travel to teach, share, and I love how, seeing your posts on social media about travel and all the great things that you do within the community. It's very inspiring. So I want to thank you all for watching the Pure Passion Biz podcast. And you can contact Jannette by visiting the links in the description that are posted in the description box. Have a wonderful summer holiday and have a holiday. Anytime that you're thinking about a holiday, consider Great Holidays Adventures. I know that Jannette will take care of you. She'll take great care of you, and she'll help you to enhance that travel experience with her great tips and knowledge.
Most
Thank you so
definitely,
much.
most definitely. And thank you, Akua,
You're
for
welcome.
always being there, always considering me on for these journeys. And, it's always fun to be around you. But remember, we still have a date since
Absolutely.
2020.
Oh, definitely,
We
definitely.
still haven't met for that dinner or lunch or breakfast.
It's going to happen. In fact, I think we should do that and make it a staycation. Burlington, I've
What
heard
about
Burlington has beautiful beaches. I've been to Burlington, of course, but I've never been to, I was just there actually earlier this month, but I've never been to the beach in Burlington. So maybe we can do a staycation type of just a day trip.
I would
Burlington.
love, you know what? Talk about day trip. We went to one yesterday,
Ah,
St. Catherine Museum.
oh, love
For
St. Catherine's.
fi- five of us, and it was a great experience. So I don't mind going on another excursion like that again.
Sounds good to me. I'm
So
excited.
looking
And
forward to it. And
yeah,
thank you for having me
thank you.
on your show. Once I've never been before, but I've been into other situations like this with you. And looking
Yes.
forward to many, many more.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on your show too. And thank you to everyone who's watching. Have a safe and enjoyable holiday.